Hey everyone, this is Matt with the Northern Angler here in Traverse City, Michigan. Today we're out at the lake. You gotta love Michigan. I mean, come on, isn't this cool? It's mid-April and we're inching closer to Michigan's trout opener and the pike opener, which is what we're talking about today. One of my favorite things to do in the spring is chase pike. You know, I love chasing hennies with everyone and throwing streamers for trout, but you know, some days on the river are a little tough. They're a little crowded, especially early in the season when everyone has cabin fever. And I've adopted pike fishing because I can get away and I can enjoy these lakes before they get busy in the summer, and you can have a lot of great success with a really aggressive fish early in the season like pike. So today we're going to talk just real quick about all the gear you need to get started. So let's start with rods. You know, my favorite rod to use is probably a 10 weight. You know, you can throw these a little bit bigger, bulkier flies, more air resistant, a little bit easier, especially if you're fishing all day. But most folks have an 8 weight, and that's a great place to start. If you have a steelhead rod or a big streamer rod like an 8 weight, let's start there. You don't necessarily have to run out and buy a niche rod just for pike, which is what I did. I bought a few probably, actually. So, but I love doing this. So 8, 9, 10, fast action rod. I prefer a 9-foot rod. If you want a little bit shorter one, go for it, but that's the best place to start. Reels are not gonna be your most important thing. Pike do not run a lot. So I like to actually downsize my reel because it makes this whole rig a lot lighter casting all day. So on this 10 weight, I'm running an 8 weight reel. On my 8 weight rod here, I'm running a 5/6, and I've stripped all the backing off. There's maybe a few feet on there, I don't know, but just make it a little bit easier for yourself. Okay, now let's talk lines. Lines are kind of my favorite thing. Big line nerd, love spools, love reels, especially fly lines. So if you have a floating fly line, start there. Absolutely. If you have a line that's designed for nymphing for steelhead, for example, that'll make a pretty good pike line. What we're looking for is a lot of mass up at the front. We're looking for a shooting head style line. So you'll see Scientific Anglers makes the Titan series, Rio makes the Outbound Short series and the Big Nasty series, and a pike specific series. So check those out. Big fan of both of those companies. So floating fly line is great, but let me tell you what, if you're looking to get a specific line for this, full intermediate is going to be your best friend. It is. In the spring, those fish are 10 feet, usually, you know, 10 feet or less, somewhere in there, sometimes 12, and intermediate's perfect because it gets some of these more buoyant flies down. We build a lot of bulk with bucktail. Bucktail doesn't necessarily float all the time, but we like, at least in pike fishing, using bucktail from the bottom where it does have more air, so we can flare it more. But that's another talk for another time. But being able to get your flies at least a little bit below the surface makes a big difference. If you have a sink tip is an awesome line, okay? Very useful, especially for fishing for pike that are still just off the drop off, not in those super shallow bays. But sink tip, really helpful to have. That's what's on here right now. Leaders are going to be kind of the crux thing, okay? You need to make sure you have the right leader, or you're going to be losing tons and tons of these, and that's not fun because flies aren't cheap. I love to tie them. Clearly this is a quarter of my collection and I've been working hard on building that up, but I don't like to lose my flies. I like to land fish. So we need to integrate something into the leader system that gives you a little bit more security. That's where wire comes in. You know, everyone kind of makes a different wire. Rio has wire bite. It's awesome stuff. We'll probably do a video on how to make custom leaders with these later on. And similar, Absolute Predator wire from Scientific Anglers. Awesome product, okay? But how do I integrate that into my leader setup, right? So here's where Rio is crushing it, okay? This is an integrated leader pre-built for you. You're not tying any knots at all, not even to the fly. I love this thing. Comes with a quick attach snap. You know, you might call it a twist clip, and all I'm gonna do is twist it on there, fly on, okay? Twist off, fly off. Quick change, no problem. There's wire built into this. It's about 1 foot. You don't need more than 1 foot, really. How big are their mouths, really? Okay. And then it's about a 7.5 foot overall length leader, which is all you need. In fact, if you're fishing a sink tip, I might cut this down. But just know that these are available, and it's something that just, it's gonna make getting started really, really easy. They're available online at our shop, and there's gonna be a link down below for that. Okay, let's talk tools. Tools are pretty important. So number one tool you're gonna need are a pair of forceps. Why? Because you should pinch your barbs down, pinch your barbs. If you care about the fishery, pinch the barbs, okay? If you don't, you're gonna learn a very, very hard lesson when you go to take one of these flies out of a pike's mouth and it's stuck on the barb really deep in there, okay? So that's the number one thing. The other thing, you probably want something a little bit longer than regular forceps. I don't want to get my hands that close. You're gonna get cut, that's part of the deal. It doesn't hurt that bad. One of these long range hook removers is an awesome investment. They're pretty cheap. Check those out, worth having. Other things to have: jaw spreaders, thermometer. We're gonna talk more about temperatures later on. Hook hone. Hooks get dull, so dull those, sharpen those up, and then wire cutters. Once in a while, you're not gonna be able to get a hook out, and this will help you remove those hooks. Okay, that's some of the basic gear. Don't want to forget though, however, eye protection. Please, please, please wear eye protection. It's gonna save you some real heartache down the line. So this has been a quick overview of what you need to get started. If you have questions, leave comments down below, but check us out at thenorthernangler.com, and I hope you get out and chase some pike. We're gonna have some other videos coming up that you're gonna like too, so stay tuned.